Good Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Hometown. I'm your host, Rich Noonan. We come to you from one of my favorite places, Cabela's, the huge outdoor store here in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. Grab a pen. We'll give you the contact information, including directions a bit later. First up on Hometown, the story of a Philadelphia attorney who is going after abusers like no one else. He's an accomplished guy who is on a mission. His name is Larry DeMarco.
You want sex? Get consent. Consent is consent. And if a woman has to stop you from doing what you're doing, you've already crossed the line and gone too far.
This is a story about passion. College campuses are places where passion can and does go too far. And when that happens, this man may be the worst nightmare of a sex offender. This is a story about passion.
An unconscious partner is rape. And it is a crime to do anything with someone unconscious, even if she's real willing when she's awake.
Attorney Larry DeMarco has passion. You can see it in his eyes. He is trying to save college students from a lifetime of pain. He knows the sobering statistics about date rape and other sexual assaults involving young people. 1 in 4 college-aged women will be victims of sexual assault. The number is probably much higher because the vast majority of sex crimes go unreported. This lawyer might very well be the man who changes that. It's Larry DeMarco's mission, his passion.
Emotional injury, that's something I do feel passionate about because no one's doing it.
DeMarco is quickly becoming a national figure in the area of law that has been essentially unheard of until now. Larry DeMarco is the emotional injury lawyer. He is going after sex offenders in civil court. In layman's terms, he is suing them for money. Lots of money that will be used by their victims to try to put back the pieces of their lives.
Emotional injury is real, and society doesn't want to believe it, but it affects people in ways they don't know. It affects society in ways society doesn't know, and I'm ready to prove that, and I can prove that in a court of law.
DeMarco and his brother share a booming law firm in Center City, Philadelphia. The firm was started by their late father, Jim DeMarco, a well-known attorney who was also a great father. Jim and his wife raised their family in South Philadelphia. Their 3 sons all became lawyers. They learned from day one that they are here to help people.
I think the things that we learned from our father, you can see in all of us, because he was very passionate about what he did for a living.
That passion meant that Jim DeMarco Sr. loved the underdog, the tough cases, the tough clients.
Dad said, look how difficult this client is, and look how much he needs us. If we don't, who will? You may not have been a victim yourself.
That attitude, if we don't, who will, is taking Larry DeMarco all over the place on a mission to help the underdog. Help the children who've been molested, the teenagers and college students who've been date raped, and the older victims who feel that they have no voice. This woman has been raped twice, once in college and once many years later in a Philadelphia subway station. She came to this college lecture to hear her lawyer, Larry DeMarco, talk about going after the rapists.
He's the kid that always used to ask why.
Phyllis has known Larry DeMarco for 14 years. She and the other DeMarco clients rave about his ability in the courtroom, but more commonly his passion for people, whether it be an emotional injury case or something else.
We've used him for a few different legal things that we've needed some advice on. Always on a personal level, very understanding, very compassionate, genuinely concerned, and follows up even after the cases are resolved.
That concern is why DeMarco is hitting the college and media circuit. He's trying to get the message out that emotional injury is an epidemic, and until someone starts paying for it, things will only get worse.
I do not sue people. I sue insurance companies.
DeMarco says many sex offenders are covered by insurance. For example, a college kid who thinks a woman wanted to have sex with him, but she didn't, and he goes ahead anyway. That young man is probably covered under his parents' homeowner's policy. DeMarco says if insurance companies are forced to pay big damages, the level of awareness of emotional injury will raise significantly. The issue will finally be dealt with instead of being the devastating, often silent crime that ruins so many lives. DeMarco is enlisting experts in emotional injury to help him change the country. Frank Cervone is the executive director for the Support Center for Child Advocates. Larry DeMarco is one of his volunteers. Cervone's group helps kids who have no one else. He is all for Larry DeMarco's personal crusade.
I think that the idea that homeowners insurance might be available as a source of recovery is an important resource for kids and for their caregivers. I think as well that a child abuser and those who are responsible for them need to be held accountable for their actions and perhaps even for their negligence.
Tom Markley is an insurance consultant. He says DeMarco is onto something big that could have an enormous positive impact on society.
Insurance industry has tried to protect themselves from covering or paying for any such act, sexual act. But the sex laws themselves and terminologies have changed so much in the last 10 years that they don't keep up with it. And Larry found what I would call a, quote, loophole, unquote. He just found a way that an injured party can recover based upon legal liability on a homeowner's policy.
DeMarco's theory is fairly simple. If insurance companies will pay for a person's back injury at work, why won't they pay for a lifetime of pain and suffering inflicted by a sex offender or child abuser? Judy Sanders is a psychotherapist. She's working with Larry to educate people about the effects of emotional abuse. She says if he starts suing insurance companies, things will change for the victims.
I think it's brilliant. It never occurred to me before. I didn't understand it at first, but once I did understand it, I realized that this would free women to come forth more often, because under civil law they have more say and they have more leverage, so that the way it stands today, most women will just keep quiet. The statistics that are available are only the tip of the iceberg. And I think that once women understand this and know about this, that they'll come forward and get the justice that they deserve.
There's a case here, better than any rear-end collision, that no one understands and no one's doing. And you know, there's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's saying, hey, we're the good hands people. We will protect you if you're in need. And it all fits. Just no one understands it, no one's doing it. And it's a tragedy.
If a DA or policeman says, there is no way we're going to make an arrest, no way we're going to prosecute, well, if you can't get justice in the criminal system, you can potentially get compensation in the civil system.
Jim DeMarco is probably smiling from above. He taught his boys well. This is a story about passion. If you'd like to contact Larry DeMarco, give him a call at 215-735-6006 or on the web at emotionalinjury.com. Larry's a great guy who believes in what he's doing. He donates a lot of his time and money to help victims of abuse. He is in this fight for all the right reasons. If you've been victimized, contact Larry DeMarco.